super regionals are fun, but they're also intense. Every pitch, every play means something. Are you looking forward to that? It's so different from a regional, just two teams going at it head-to-head 3 games.
I'm just looking forward to being in the moment. You know, it's going to be a really special atmosphere. We've never been there. I've never experienced one. I just can't wait for all the excitement all the time.
Yeah, I definitely think we're really prepared. I think that this is going to feel not as huge as maybe the ESPN Clearwater tournament. That was 2 teams going head-to-head and a lot of fans. So I think even though there was a bunch of teams there, it's kind of the same environment. We're really prepared for it. So like McKenzie said, none of us on our team have ever been to a super regional. So I think maybe our naive nature might help us a little bit and not let us get too hyped up or too nervous for it. Just have the excitement piece ready to go.
How excited are you guys for the sense that you're going to be the second game of the super regionals? Everybody in the country is going to be watching you. That's got to be kind of exciting, right?
You know, for me, you just gotta be in the moment. Like I said earlier, I know my parents are super excited to be there. I know as soon as we got the win last week, I ran straight to my father while the team was celebrating everything. Like, we got a crowd picture, I just ran straight to him. I'm just super excited to stand in center field and look to see my parents and kind of get a breath of relaxation, kind of focus, and then play ball.
Y'all look at this as an opportunity to kind of show everybody around the country what clubs of softball is all about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this super regional is pretty different than what we've seen in the past. You know, we're starting to experience some really good East Coast softball, some mid-major softball. I think it's time that kind of those little divisions start to not really become as predictive of what we're going to see in the postseason. So I think this is a cool time for us to kind of join some of those teams that maybe don't have the history of playing this late in the season. So I think that's really cool, just to kind of to be up there with the teams that we normally are watching on TV.
Cammy, hard to top the send-off that you had here in your last home game at McWhorter, but now you know that you only have a handful of games left in your college career. How do you put that out of your mind and just focus on what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, knowing that the last game at McWhorter here just ended so well and we had so much fun, that was definitely what I wanted. I wanted something in my college career that I was going to miss, something that I was going to be able to look back on and just be really happy that I was a part of it. I really can't think about the end being the end. I just have to be really appreciative of where I'm going to end. A lot of people's season has to end with their conference tournament, or even before then if they don't make the conference tournament, and mine's going to end in Oklahoma, period.
Right.
So no matter which part of Oklahoma we're in, and that's just way farther than I ever expected we would be able to go, and that I would be able to take my softball career. So either way, whenever it ends, I'll just know that I did the most that I could with all 6 years that I had. So
Speaking of those 6 years, you put off medical school, another year. What went into that decision to say, yeah, I'm going to give this one last ride? And then what is the next step for you? Like, after it's all over and you've cleaned out your room, where are you headed?
Yeah, I mean, the thought of this right now, like what we're experiencing right now, I knew that this year we were going to be able to take it a step further than what we did last year. Like Coach Ribbon said, he didn't know how much further that was going to be, whether that was going to be just one more win in the regionals or winning the regional, winning supers. But I knew that this year's team was going to have the capability to go a step further, and I just really wanted to be a part of that. Knew that I would regret it if I took the decision to miss out on that. Whenever we end, whatever that may be, I'll probably go home, spend a few weeks at the beach. My family lives in Wilmington, so I'll probably spend some time with them, a little bit of vacation, and then I actually moved into my Spartanburg apartment for med school yesterday. So I'm going to gradually move in the rest of the summer, and I'll start classes July 18th. So, but that's just way in the future right now compared to what we have going on. So I'm going to continue to still live in my college athlete days.
What are you wanting to do in medical school? What do you do?
So everybody kind of generally does the same thing for their 4 years, and then after that go to residency. So I'm hoping to do reproductive medicine, and I'm really interested in that because of the psychology and biology aspect, just being able to work with people, problem solving, and also work in the LGBTQ community, which is something that's really important to me. So that's definitely what I'm looking towards, but there's always a lot of time before I get to make that decision, so we'll see.
Speaking of the future, do you kind of pinch yourself to think, and I ask the baseball players this when they get close, you're 2 wins away from the CWS. Does that ever register in your mind, and you pinch yourself and say, I can't believe we're this close to getting there?
You know, I read a message from one of my close friends the other day, and we ended our travel ball in Oklahoma City, and just to think about wing it all or just going there in general, it just brings goosebumps to me. It's super exciting, but you can't look too far ahead. You have to kind of play where your feet are at, but it's just all excitement from here.
Same for you, Cammy, on that?
Yeah, I would definitely say that we have to get past this weekend to get to that goal. So we took regionals one step at a time. We kept talking about that cliche over and over again, just one game at a time. But that's really what you have to do, because there's nobody since we started our postseason onward that we could overlook or just take as an easy opponent. If you do that and you're trying to look too far ahead, you may never make that actual goal that you're reaching towards. So right now, focusing on super regionals, obviously we know that 2 wins gets us through, but like McKenzie said, nobody's ever been here before. Nobody knows what to expect. So just these 2 wins this weekend, we just got to keep doing what we've been doing. We knew that this weekend was 3 wins and you move on. So we just have to, again, the cliche that we all say right now, take it one game at a time, because that's really, it's really important just to stay in the moment.
How does that not knowing help? Not knowing to be in this position,
Yeah.
how does that help you guys?
I definitely think it's a challenge. We struggled with that a little bit, I think, in the environment of Alabama last year. That's an environment that we hadn't been in yet. And so that maybe we weren't as nervous going into it, but then once we were in the moment, it was like, oh my gosh, we've never experienced this before. So I think the knowing of what the big environment is like, but not knowing exactly like what the stakes are, what the stages are, maybe it just helps ease the nerves just a little bit, and we just have a lot more excitement, I think, just knowing that this is a place that not a lot of programs get to be in their 3rd year.
McKenzie, you're a 5-tool player. What have you enjoyed doing, or what do you take the most pride in what you've done this season? Was it the inside the park home run? Was it your multi-home run game down in Tallahassee? What was it?
I would probably have to say, now that you listed it, probably the multi-home run game at FSU, because it's super easy just to hit like a solo shot in that first inning when there's no one on, when the pressure isn't there, you know. But doing it 3 times when we needed those extra runs in FSU was pretty exciting, and looking back on it, it was a pretty cool statistic to look at, for sure.
You raced Sam head-to-head at any point this season in practice?
I will go ahead and give her that W right there.
I have to ask you too, just curious, what's your favorite type of pie, since the girls like to call you that?
See, the only pie I will ever have is in a little Amish restaurant in Sarasota, Florida, named Yoder's, and I will either have a strawberry pie or a peach pie.
For you, what was the emotion after Sunday? How long do you ride that high and then immediately turn your attention to getting back to, the task at hand?
For me, I rode that high up until I saw that FSU game, and then I realized that the game doesn't know who's supposed to win. It doesn't matter what your name is, doesn't matter what your record is, doesn't matter who you are. You can lose at any time, and you have to stay focused. You have to stay hungry. Watching that game, I had like a realization that we could go home the first 2 games, we could play all 3 games, we don't know. And the part of not knowing is kind of exciting for me. But at the same time, like I said, you gotta stay hungry, you gotta stay focused.
Coming to that end, all the really tough opponents you played in your ACC schedule and early in the season, those tournaments, you knocked off number 2 Virginia Tech last week. Does that just give you guys the confidence that you can really win this whole thing?
Yeah, I definitely think we have a lot of confidence knowing that also we've faced 3 of some of the top teams that won't even be competing in the World Series this year. With Tennessee, Alabama, Florida State, and for them to be home watching us at the Super Regionals, it just, like Kenzie said, like anybody can get beat on any given day, and we know how good those teams are because we've competed against them. We've lost to Florida State literally 4 times and given it our all in all 4 of those games. So we know how tough they are, but we also know that we've competed in really big games, and we're going to be able to just put the pressure on other teams and not feel that pressure is heavy just because we've experienced that all season long.
From the players' perspective, can both of y'all just what you know about Oklahoma State and what you kind of expect from them this week?
Yeah, we know they have really strong pitching. Obviously, high accolades for their pitching staff. Great hitters. They've competed in the World Series. They've competed in some big games. But I just think back, I was watching some highlights from their game last year against JMU, and that was just a team that had big fight last year in the World Series. I just think back to that big play with Odyssey Alexander, you know, diving play, tagging out at home, and that just really shows like the heart of the underdog team. And no matter who your opponent is in this big stage, it's just all about having the heart and the fight to get through it. And it's not always about, like Kenzie said, the name on your jersey. It's just about the heart that your team has. So try not to focus too much on the specifics of the team. We know what we need to know as far as hitters and what we need to focus on. But we've also hit off a really good left-handed pitcher a lot of times at home too, and I would put her up against a lot of the other left-handed pitchers, and we've had that preparation with Millie for sure. So our pitchers prepare us pretty much for any other pitcher.
Yes.
Same for you.
Just, you know, I can't wait to be on their home turf. As an outfielder, you have to be ready of every pitch of every inning of every game for this whole series. Just you have to know how strong they are offensively. Of course, defensively, we have to, you know, make the routine, make the excellent catches when needed. But I think we're ready.
Anything else for the players?
Thank you,
guys.
ladies.